So my name is Liz Staley, as I believe most of you know, and I draw the mecha webcomic Adrastus, which you can find at adrastuscomic.com. And I am here today to show you guys some stuff about Manga Studio. I hope that you'll find this interesting. I actually just started using Manga Studio about 4 weeks ago. Just started drawing Chapter 7 of my comic in it, and I love this program. Manga Studio, if you don't know, is a software program specifically made for drawing comics. And it got started in Japan, so hence the name Manga Studio. And so what I wanted to do was show you guys some of my favorite features of the program, maybe answer some questions if I can. Again, I'm not an expert in the program. I've just been using it for the past couple of weeks, but I feel like I could give it a pretty good basis for a beginner. If I can figure out how to press buttons in this thing, I can probably help other people figure out how to press buttons in it. When you first open up Manga Studio, you go to New, and you can do either a story or a page for New. Yeah, Cam, definitely watch Amazon for good deals on Manga Studio. Cam found a lightning deal on Amazon, and I got EX4 for like $70, which is crazy good price. I think you can usually pick up Debut for like $50, which is pretty good price too. So you have the option of doing either a new story or a new page. A new page obviously is just going to give you one piece of quote paper to draw on. When I got started doing Chapter 7 here, I went to a new story. They have all these different papers that you can pick from, different sizes, different DPIs. Everything's in centimeters for the pre-done stuff. What I did was actually get the size of my finished Adrastus books, because I've already I've already done one Adrastus book, so I know what size my other books are going to be, and I actually made a custom page so that I would have all my bleed width and all my frames set up already. And over here you can do however many pages you want. My chapter ended up with 26 pages, so that was how many I put in. You have a binding position for right or for left, depending on if you're going to print this in manga style or in American style. Starting page on the right or the left. And you can set this up for either single page or double page, which I haven't fiddled with, but I would assume there's a double page will let you work on 2 pages at once. I usually just work on 1 page at a time. So then once you've got your story made, you can add more pages. You can always change your settings and stuff in your story window. And you can see here I've got my Chapter 7 story window open. And you can see I've already drawn the first 9 pages. So some of the stuff that is really cool about Manga Studio, there's a lot of really time-saving features that just make drawing a comic so much easier than when I was doing it in Photoshop. And I love Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop probably since I was a sophomore in high school. I started using Photoshop at version 5.5. So I love Photoshop. I know how to do a lot with it, but as far as drawing my comic, Manga Studio is really helping me save a lot of time. So, alright, so I'm going to open up page 16 of Chapter 7 here. And as you can see, I've got a blank page. And what I always do is, I don't have any of these scanned to show you all, but I thumbnail out my pages on little pieces of paper. And what I did for this chapter, since I knew I was going to be switching to Manga Studio and I was going to be able to, was I thumbnailed all my pages at once. And so I've got them sitting here in front of me. And I did this all at once so that I could just go through all the pages and lay out all my frames and do all my text at one time. Now, of course, as you might be able to see, I've actually only got up to page 15 with the panels and the text laid out. Because when I finally started drawing, I had only done 15 thumbnails, but then I went and finished the rest. So, this is a blank page, and I need to make some frames. So what I'm going to do is, over here in your layers palette, I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a couple different sections on your layers palette. You have a page section, which you can turn the grid on and off if you need that. These blue lines here around the page are my print guides, and you can turn those on and off as well. There's also a section here for guide and for a ruler and for a selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on ruler, and I'm going to create a panel ruler layer. So it's drawn a box around here. This is where my panels are going to show up. And it's telling me right now that I can't use the pencil tool on that. That's okay because I don't want to. Over here in my tools, you can just take the rectangle tool if you wanted to and just kind of freeform some boxes in here if that was what you wanted to do. What I like to do though is use the panel cutter tool, which is right next to your move layers. And I'm going to look at my thumbnails here, and I'm just going to drag this across. You can hold down shift to get it straight. And as you can see, now I've got two panels. And I can do this for however many panels I need. Now, on my thumbnails for this page, I've got a big middle panel and other panels like that. Boom! My panels are done, and I didn't have to do anything crazy. You can set your gutters in the tool options so that if you want this gutter thinner or thicker, either horizontal or vertical, it'll just automatically do it. And that's why I like using the cutter tool, because I don't have to sit here and fiddle and make sure that everything is even the way I had to in Photoshop. So that is pretty darn cool. And of course you could, if I wanted this one to be diagonal, I could just do that and make all this cool stuff. I don't need that one like that though. So once you're done that, all you have to do is right-click on your panel rulers, hit Change Layer Type, and it's going to bring up this Convert Panel Ruler, and I'm going to tell it to generate panel folders. This has been a great big time saver for me. It's going to make a folder with a layer in it for each of these panels. The only thing I don't like is that it's a little bit screwy on the number. I usually go back in and renumber these. It numbers from right down to left down. So like this is 1, this one is 2, that one's 3. So I usually just go in and rename these folders. Not a real big deal. So now I've got all these folders, and they've all got a layer in them. And what I like to do is I will draw on this pre-done blue sketch layer. Just take my pencil, and I can just draw in here. everything comes up blue, and then what I'll do then is on the non-blue layer, I'll do my final pencils. Let me actually open a page and show you guys that. Oh, which page to open? Because this is like full of spoilers. I'll open the page with the cameos from the other webcomics on it. So here is page 6. And if I go back through everything I did here, this one was really, really complicated, by the way. Really, really complicated. Alright, so as you can see, this was my rough blue pencils. And I did my finished pencils over. And then in each of my layer, my panel folders, I did my inks and stuff. So another one of the things I wanted to show you guys is how easy it is to do word bubbles. So you can also open the Layers window, click on Ruler and select Panel Ruler layer. Select the auto-created box and go up to your menu. Select Ruler/Split Panel Ruler and split panels into multiples all at once. Oh really? I didn't know that. I've only been using the program for a couple weeks, so I'm sure there's probably 20 different ways to do everything, but this is kind of what I have found so far. Oh my god, there's more people. So, alright, so let me show you guys how easy it is to do, you see here, this was a page I was working on a little bit earlier, just getting ready for the panel. I've already got my panels laid out. I've got my text. I always put my text down before I start drawing because I want to know how much space I'm going to have to draw in. So, especially since my comic can get a little bit wordy. So I need to make sure that I'm going to be able to fit everything into the panel. So it's just a way that I like to work. Some people do their drawings first, put their text on top. So, alright, so this here is going to be narration. It's 3 hours later. So I'm going to get my text tool, and I'm going to double click so that I bring up the text properties. You can set all sorts of crazy stuff in your text here. I actually have my Manga Studio set that it automatically does my font that I use for my comic instead of me having to switch to it every single time. Alright, so for 3 hours later, we're going to generate a dialogue balloon. Since it's narration, I want a rectangle. Now, as you can see, this rectangle is really, really huge, so I'm just going to grab the corner, resize it a little bit. You can move the text around in it. You can move the box around. Hit OK. Hit OK. Done. This is one of the things that's a really, really big time saver for me because I would have to do all of these almost by hand in Photoshop. And now I can do it with a couple clicks. So let's say, let's do this panel here, balloons. I don't know if you can really kind of see what's going on here. There's a figure talking, and I'm going to have 3 different bubbles. So I'm going to have them overlap. So the first one I'm going to work on here is not just toys. It would help though if I get the text tool instead of the zoom tool, huh? Okay, so I'm going to generate a dialogue balloon. I want a new ellipse. I'm going to resize this a little bit. Okay. That one's fine. Alright. This one, dialogue balloon, generate. I'm going to resize this, and I'm going to leave them overlapping a bit. Okay. And then this last one. Okay. Alright, so, as you can see, it does not look very good right now, but we're going to change that. Let's put a tail on here, and this is so incredibly awesome. The tails from Manga Studio are really, really simple. Here on your dialogue balloons, you have the option of a curved tail or a linear tail. I want a linear tail, so I'm just going to click on that, and then I'm going to click here on my word bubble, and I'm going to drag. Boom, there's a tail. It doesn't get much simpler than that. Say, I don't like that one. Okay, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to do a curved tail instead. The curves in Manga Studio, if you do a lot of pen tool or anything with Photoshop, it's a little bit different. I had to figure out how to get this right at first because it's just a bit different. But if you want a curved one, all you have to do is click, drag, let go where you want the end of your balloon, and then you can just move this around. See how it's following my mouse? And you can fool with the line width. Say I don't like that tail being so wide, or if I want to make it wider or smaller. And then, of course, these are still, you can still see the lines between them. But all you have to do to fix that, when you close your text folder, it'll combine everything. So, and you can keep going back in and editing these as much as you want. Like this one I didn't notice was off the side of the panel. So I'm just going to move it over. Boom, there we go. There's also a lot of really neat special shape balloons that you can do. So I'm just going to show you one. Go to our dialogue balloon setting. If you select dialogue balloon from materials, you get all sorts of options, like a double circle. There's some ellipses if you want a different sort of shape. There's a dotted line for a whisper, which I really wish that I had had several chapters ago. There's some clouds, there's some surprise announcements. I wish I had had these a bunch of chapters ago. Would have made life so much easier. And, I mean, you can do the same thing with these. Okay, let's say that I like that. Now, some of these special materials balloons won't let you add tails, and the tail options will be grayed out if it won't let you add a tail, but this one will. So yeah, I mean, you can have a lot of fun with that. They've got like evil word balloons filled with black and dripping and all kinds of crazy stuff, sparklies. So yeah, that would be a way to do it if it didn't let you do a tail. Just go behind it, create a round balloon, and make a tail over it, and then make another layer of white. So, alright, so I'm going to get rid of that shouty word balloon because I don't need that for this panel. I just wanted to show you guys that. So that is word balloons. Huge time saver for me because I can just go in, bada bing, bada boom, everything's done. Show you guys time saver right here. This panel, doing this exclamation word balloon would have probably taken me forever. It certainly wouldn't have looked that good. And all I had to do was join these, and it was awesome. Okay. But as anybody who follows me on Twitter probably knows by now, my biggest love in Manga Studio are the ruler tools. I adore the ruler tools. They're the best thing on the entire planet, if you ask me. The ruler tools have saved me so much time. For instance, the page I did this week, this page would have taken me probably 2 days in Photoshop to do. I drew this and inked it in probably 2 hours with Manga Studio. And it looks way better than anything I would have done in Photoshop. As probably some people who read my comic would tell you. The perspective rulers are just incredibly handy, especially if you don't have a Cintiq or something where you can just slap a ruler down on the screen and just go to town. So let's play around with a perspective ruler. You can see here this top panel. I've got a shot of the table, and there's all this stuff laying around. And I can definitely use some rulers and some regular rulers to help me out with this. So, alright, so over here on my layers, I'm going to make a new ruler layer. I'm going to go to my rulers here, new special ruler, and you've got 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspectives, radial lines, radial curves, parallel lines, controls. I haven't done really much with any of these, but the perspective rulers I have used a lot. So, for this we're going to do 1 point, I think. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see these lines that have come up, but I have a triangle here, and I have a horizon line. So if you're familiar with doing perspective with pen and paper, you kind of should know what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to drag this is my vanishing point, and I'm going to drag this out, and I'm just going to try to match it up with some of my rough lines. So I'll match that one up relatively with that line on the table there. And then I'm going to match this. I've got this tray here with this water pitcher sitting on it. So I'm going to match that up with that. So, alright. Normally I don't draw with these layers over here, these windows over here, so I'm having to work around them. Okay, so I've got that set up. I'm going to get my pencil tool. Watch how cool this is. Okay, sometimes it's a little bit fidgety, but so long as you have this snap to perspective ruler up here on the top turned on, it's going to snap to your guidelines. I actually probably should have done this as a 2-point perspective now that I'm looking at it. The hardest thing for me so far has been realizing when I need to do which perspective. So, but as you can see, all my lines are following that perspective right there. And you can, do, your horizontals and your verticals and all that. Yeah, I should have done this as a 2-point. Well, hey, now I'll know when I actually go to draw that page. You can also set up just rulers. So say, like, I can't ink this water pitcher with, I can't do this water pitcher with the perspective ruler because it's all curves. So I'm going to make another ruler. And I'm going to get the curve tool, and let's say I wanted to do this handle. I'm going to lay out my curve, and if you get the object selector, you can add points and move this around. So I'm just going to make it follow this curve that I drew. And this is doing this in purple because it's a ruler. I'm not actually drawing any lines right now. All I'm doing is setting up some guidelines. Alright, so I've got my curves the way I want them. I'm going to go up here. And what I've even done is just go right to inks from here once I set up all my rulers. But so long as you've got your snap turned on, your tool is going to follow those lines. You see, I'm not anywhere, I'm, just going along and it's just following. So, yeah, it is awesome and darn useful. This second page here of this chapter, this panel here, I don't know if you can see all this stuff that is on this counter. It was so easy with rulers. All I did was just set up a whole bunch of rulers, straight rulers. This compact was just done with two circle rulers. This box is just rulers. The sides of these bottles are just rulers. So it was really, really quick to just ink and, just get all the lines straight. Normally in Photoshop, I would have been rotating the screen to get the lines straight and holding down Shift, and it would have been a total pain. There's not a page in this chapter so far I don't think that I haven't used rulers on in some form or another. Even this page here, I mean, it's mainly close-ups, but I used rulers for the top of this table and this picture frame, and I actually used a 1-point perspective ruler to get this part of the hallway with the elevator perfect. So, very, very useful stuff. Honestly, the rulers are really the reason that I bought the program in general, because they just make everything so much easier. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that... the inking tools are really, really neat. I really like the pen tool. Just because it looks so gosh darned awesome. So, let's see. You can also, you can import drawings, if you want to. I did a drawing for a friend, and I actually drew it in a different program, but you can import like Photoshop file. So let's see. Well, let's say that I wanted to import something. This was actually the one that I had imported before, I think. Let me go find something to import. Hang on. I don't know what that is. Okay, here we go. Well, this is just a sketch that I did of hands. Okay. So you can even draw your stuff on paper and scan it and then just bring it in, lay it out, hit OK. And then, alright, so now I've got this in here. Say I want to ink these hands. I'm just going to go to this layer here, and I'm just going to zoom in. And I just go with the regular the default pen that came up. I think I might have changed the size. And I turned the stroke in, stroke out off immediately because I don't like the way it looks. But I'll turn them on to show you all how it looks. It basically autocorrects your strokes. I don't like it because I would rather do it myself. So I always turn that off and just do the stroke in, stroke out on my own, just because that's how I learned how to ink with a brush. So I like that this kind of feels like an actual brush, and that I can control how thick I want the line. So say I want that line thin and thicker. And I really like that the pen tools are quite sensitive. I'm using a Wacom Intuos, by the way, which is a nice tablet, but I can get some incredibly thin lines, or I can get nice thick ones. So you don't even have to draw all digitally. You can still use Manga Studio and do your sketches or your inks or whatever with, pencil and paper, and just bring it in and finish it up, or whatever you want to do. So, and then I can turn that off, and there's a hand. Yay! I'm just going to get rid of that. and get rid of that. Or else I'm going to be going, why is there a random hand in the middle of page 17? So, yeah, oh, Kurt, what the yes, I definitely can't say I'm not handy. Yeah, I'm seeing talk in the chat room about different people's processes. There is some stuff that I still do in Photoshop, some finishing stuff that I do. I don't really like how the gradients look. I haven't figured out a way to do what I usually do for hair in Manga Studio and get it a way that I like it. I'm looking for a page right now that shows that. So there is still some stuff that I finish up in Photoshop. I'll finish a page and export it to Photoshop. Like this page here, I did the text on the side of the building in Photoshop, so I could get it to follow that perspective. I'm sure there's probably a way you can do that in Manga Studio, but I just couldn't figure it out. Here we go. Here's the gradients. Because I use a really soft airbrush and the lasso tool to get kind of this shiny on the hair and on Michael's sunglasses. So I do that in Photoshop. If you look at this page in Manga Studio, they're not there. So, by the way, this panel is full of cameos. In fact, that's Mia from Shadowbinders right there in the corner. So, and see, Trevor, I'm sure you recognize her. So that page won't be up until like March. But yeah, so I liked drawing Mia's swoopy hair. So is there anything else that anybody wanted to see? I will do my best to try to answer questions, even though I'm not. Tones. I've started playing around with tones a little bit. The only real practice that I've done with them. I have many questions usually. I'm usually going on YouTube trying to find how to do something. Which YouTube was a very, very great resource when I was trying to figure out how to use the rulers. The only thing I've really done tones with, it was this picture right here. And the shading on the robot. Yes, it is Adam. I love real steel. So. Oh, that's a good question. I've got a 9 by 12 inch scanner printer. Did those who use scanners have with larger beds? Are you also drawing on standard 8.5 by 11 paper? So. When I first started Adrastus, I was drawing on regular 8.5 by 11 paper, not realizing that books don't usually do 8.5 by 11, so I had a little bit of a fiasco when I went to put the book together. So that's okay though. I got it figured out. Yeah, Real Steel is really, really good. So, I would recommend it to anybody who likes robots. It is made of awesome. I actually bought it and I keep it here by my computer because I watch it when I draw. But for anybody who would be wanting to do some basic tones, I can show you what I did for that Real Steel picture. Say I wanted to put some tone here on Sarah's hair. All I did for that picture of Adam was take the lasso tool, draw out the shapes that I wanted, and then just here, when you make a selection, it pops up this thing, and I just did new tone. It gives you all sorts of options, different shapes you can make the tone in. This cross pattern was actually what I used for Adam's face mask in that other picture. They have little cherry blossoms, very cute. And carrots, very strange. So you can change the size and you can rotate the angle of it, and then you can play with how dark or light it is. So you can make it darker or lighter, and you can even layer them. So, like say I wanted to do another shadow, I could then take and make this darker. So now I have one tone sitting on top of the other tone. And they're on their own layers. So take and clean up this edge because I went outside the line a little bit. And so then there's a shadow on Sarah's hair. So yeah, the Mori pattern thing, Tiffany, is definitely one thing that finishing up pages I had to be careful with. The best thing that I've found is when I export these into Photoshop and finish them up, to get them down to posting on the internet size, what I've had to do is go from 4,800 pixels wide to 24. I basically had to cut it in half every time to size it down to 600. Rather than going from 4,800 to 600, it just made it look awful. So I did half, and then half. So 4,800 to 24, 2,400 to 1,200, 1,200 to 600. So that made it look better. It didn't get quite so moirade. So. Is there anything else anybody wanted to get my opinion on? My very newbie opinion? Anybody have any questions about Adrastus Chapter 7? Please don't make me give away spoilers. Kurt, you shouldn't ask me questions about coloring. You know I don't know nothing about coloring. I know you can do coloring in Manga Studio because I have seen some very nice pieces. I'm going to post a link in the chat if it'll let me. This guy does all of his painting in Manga Studio, and he has some natural pattern brushes that make look like oil paint or whatever. And you can see from the picture on that site friendin.com that it looks really, really awesome. So apparently there's some really nice things you can do with the color. I don't color my comic, so I much prefer doing the black and white. So maybe I'll play with some color on something else. Maybe I'll start trying to do my covers in it. I actually did the cover for Chapter 7 in Photoshop because I was just intimidated. So yeah, Tiffany, I thought that that picture of the Wolfman and I guess it's Creature from the Black Lagoon was pretty awesome, and the fact that it was done in Manga Studio. So anything else? Okay, well, if no one else has anything that they want me to talk about, or see, what else am I hoping to do? Well, aside from hopefully the rest of my comic, one thing I have been using it for is I've had several people lately that have kind of ongoing commissions with me. So I've been doing their commissions in Manga Studio because they didn't just sketch or ink stuff. So like the one guy, I have a Manga Studio story file for him, and so I keep all his commissions in one spot. And I've been doing that for both of them. So it's kind of like make like a sketchbook kind of thing would be neat. It's definitely been easy to kind of keep everything organized. I'm really liking this, that I have all my pages here, and just in a story thing, so I can see how they're all going to look when I print them out in the next book. So yes, external drives and copies of everything are very, very good. I had a heart attack last September when I installed a Windows update and my computer decided to stop working. So I managed to get it working enough to back everything up. And as soon as I finished Chapter 6, I backed everything up again. And, I should be making regular backups of Chapter 7, but I'm a terrible, horrible person. And my computer is probably looking for yet another way to make me have a heart attack. I have been known to store stuff on Dropbox if it's small enough and if I'm really that worried about losing it, because it's in the cloud and I know I'm not going to lose it. Some of my favorite patterns. I haven't really done a whole lot. I really want to figure out how to use all the screen tones and everything. I'm going to have to keep doing that. Crash Plan, I'm going to have to look into that. Because if I were to ever lose all my comic stuff, I would... There's almost 200 pages worth of stuff, and I would just cry. There's a skull and crossbone pattern? Awesome. I know that Cam wanted to see the first page of Chapter 7 because I mentioned in the other chat that it was kind of suggestive. Cam, do you still want to see it? Alright, so I'm going to give away a little spoiler here for Chapter 7. So if anybody doesn't want to see it, they look away. That's all you get. That was the first page I ever drew in Manga Studio, and doing the cross-hatching I was quite happy with. So, it just looked so nice, it was so easy. Technically, Trevor, it's actually not happening in my comic during Sarah's gaming, but... Alright, so it looks like we are just about out of time here, I do believe. and I've run out of stuff to talk about. Yeah, Chapter 7 is going to start the cover posts actually on February 16th. And the cover is definitely going to be interesting. I hope the cover is going to cause a stir. So it'll be awesome. And then after that, Chapter 7 will start, and it'll be fantastic. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening to me ramble. Nice to see some new faces and see some old friends. And if anybody wants to check out Adrastus, it's a story of a girl who finds out that the skeleton in her family's closet is a giant alien robot, and I think that everybody would enjoy it. You can check it out at adrastuscomic.com, and I'll put that in the chat room. Thanks, guys.